Welcome to the Seattle Investors Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how are you doing today?
Joe, I am super excited, and I would say I will say I am super excited about the podcast today with our new friend Casey Ryan. But I'm also super excited because us Clarkies are heading to Whistler tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, 5 or 6 days, and I can say that so nobody breaks into my house because you won't hear this until we're back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. How's the snow looking up there? Have you checked?
I have not checked, honestly, because it's the busy season here. It is, getting close to the middle of February, and I am doing everything in my power to get out of town without a bunch of workload on my back. But we got 5 or 6 days up there. Girls are in snowboard school for the first few days. Bloody Caesars, for those of you who are Bloody Mary fans, are the best. I can't wait, and just super stoked. But of course,
Sweet.
You are living the life daily, so tell us where you're at.
Oh, gosh, so much to tell, Julie. We just got done with a few awesome powder days at Aspen Snowmass. Oh, my gosh, that's a great mountain. And we got to camp in the Park and Ride, which is, before that sounds like, why would you want to camp in a Park and Ride? It's right down the hill from the mountain. So we literally, because we're all set up, we could just park our van there and then get up in the morning and hop on a bus for like a 10-15 minute bus ride for free up to the mountain. And then we just get on the lift. And there was a Starbucks at the lift, so we could work from the Starbucks and then go and hop on the chair. It was amazing.
So you're not leaving anytime soon, I guess.
Right now, I'm actually in the Frisco parking lot, Frisco, Colorado, which is right by Copper Mountain. And I just posted a picture of looking out the back of the van window on all of our social accounts so that people can see what the scene looks like here. So if you're listening to this, go and look. It might be a couple weeks back,
tell everybody again where they can look what all this get the envy. I have butterflies in my stomach listening. Where can everybody find your stuff?
So everybody can find all of our stuff that we're doing with The Vantastic Life at The Vantastic Life, pretty much anywhere on the internet. We do a lot with Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. But I posted that picture on our SIC with a picture of the computer that we're recording the podcast with Casey. So it will show up on the Seattle Investors Club social.
I wish I was technically savvy enough to click over and look at that, but I'd click right out of this podcast if I did that. I'm not gonna look right now. Hey, I also want to thank you. Hey guys, Joe and I are having a meeting right in front of you guys today, so sorry you just tag along for a minute. Hey, I want to thank you, my brother, for allowing all my VIP education community members to have a little perk and join the Get Better Project health and fitness program. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Everybody was super stoked about that. So
sweet.
Anybody who wants to learn how to get in on that with my private coaching community for brokers, let me know. You can be anywhere in the U.S. actually. Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, doesn't matter where or wherever you're at. Even Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And speaking of Las Vegas, that's my intro right there. Today, we have Mr. Vegas, Casey Ryan of WeBuyAnyVegasHouse.com with us out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Super stoked. How you doing, Casey?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, we can't wait. Hey, guys, so last year, Casey's team closed 144 deals in Vegas. Of which I think, Casey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, about 30% were flips and 70% of those wholesale deals. Is that about right?
Yep, that's spot on. Yep.
Awesome. So we're stoked today. We haven't had we actually have had other high volume investors on the podcast before. like our very own, who I want to say, Jared. Why am I blanking
Jared
out?
Holland.
Jared Holland, if you haven't listened to that podcast. And of course, Tarl Yarber's been on. But today, we haven't had anyone from a market that's already saturated with iBuyers, which we have not had that happen yet here, guys. But it is coming, especially to you Tacoma people and maybe some of you people up north, Snohomish County. And today, we're going to find out how to compete and kick ass. Sorry, there's our bleep, in a market with fierce competition from iBuyers and other high-volume wholesalers and investors. It's time for us to prepare here in the Pacific Northwest because it's coming our way. And I think none better to teach us all about that than our new friend, Casey Ryan. So welcome.
Thank you very much. So what do you guys want to know?
We are going to drill down on you today, brother. So you're going to be sitting here for the next 45 minutes. I hope you don't have to be anywhere, but we're going to drill down on some details with you today. But how we do that is, Joe, we're going to get to know you better first. So Joe's going to kick us off with the first question.
Yeah, absolutely. So Casey, we like to get to know people. Like to get to know their background, and we like to get to know how that took them to this real estate world that is so crazy. So step back as far as you'd like to, and we'd love to hear more about you.
Okay, great. Well, I guess I kind of started out with nothing to do with real estate. I went to school. I went to college for engineering. I got my degree in mechanical engineering and finance. And while I was going through school, I kind of got in the mindset of just flipping. I actually started out my entrepreneurial journey as buying and selling Jeeps on Craigslist. So I did that for about 3 years or so for my parents' house while I was going through school. And I was doing a bunch of them, like, 50 a year or so. And I would line them all up and down the street in the neighborhood. All the neighbors hated me, but and that's kind of how I got started in that. And then when I was going through school, I started to dabble in real estate a little bit. I found a mentor who taught me a lot, and I spent a summer with him, kind of learning how the business worked. And then
was that in Vegas, or
that was all in Vegas? Yep, I went to UNLV, graduated there. So that was how I got my first taste of it, and then I kind of
how long ago was that? That
was in 2013. So the first summer or deal that I ever found was in 2013. But I was so focused on getting to I was so focused on getting my degree. I wasn't going to abandon it, and then start over. Hold on a second. Sorry, my dog hangs out with me in the office. And
hey, my dog is hanging out with me here too. Shout out. What's your dog's name? Shout out to Buddy. What do you got?
Her name's Sky. She's an Australian Shepherd, and she's the office mascot. So she's in here every day, bringing everyone's spirits up. So,
good stuff.
But anyway, so yeah, I didn't want to abandon my I was already dedicated to getting my degree, so I followed that through, and I graduated. And then as soon as I graduated, actually towards my last couple semesters, I was working a job doing valet at nights, and then I was doing all my schooling during the day, and then in between my breaks, and actually during class too, I was just obsessing over real estate. So once I graduated, I kind of ditched that, and I jumped back in with that same mentor that we partnered up for about 3 years or so. And I had some job offers and stuff as an engineer, but he just brought a better opportunity to me. So we dove in, and our first year, that was in 2015 when I finally graduated. I kind of, like I said, I put real estate on the back burner, and then I graduated in 2015. So then we kicked it off in late 2015. So and then our first year, we were doing at that time for the first 3 years was flipping. So our first year, I think we did somewhere around 70 properties, which was crazy for me. I was 22 years old or something like that. Flip with him flipping, 70 properties a year, it was really, really hectic and disorganized, I guess, initially. And we were doing everything aside from the actual work itself, from the acquisitions, the real estate side of it, and the majority of the properties for those first 3 years, none of them were direct to homeowner. I mean, other than the referrals we may have gotten, but we weren't doing any marketing. I was getting a majority of the deals off of the MLS, relationships with agents, buying from wholesalers. But we were doing everything. So when you buy so many properties off the MLS, it kind of doubles the workload as far as transactionally, because
right.
You're doing all the paperwork on that side of it and just staying in compliance. And then
were one of you an agent at that time?
Yes, yeah, he was an agent at that time, and just started a brokerage too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So of those 70 deals that you guys did the first year, did you hit home runs, or did you have so many big losses? Did you screw it up, or did you guys totally kick ass?
I think to be frank, so we kicked ass really, but we lost on one deal, and it was like $1,200. And then through the rest of our time together, which was maybe another 300 flips total. With him, I think that we lost on just that one and maybe one other, and they're both like maybe $800 or $1,200. But our average was usually around 20 to 23,000 was our average on our flips.
That's your profit margin was 20 to 23,000.
That's correct. Yeah. That was our net after all of our cost of goods sold and everything. So. We did great. I think that we also were lucky, the market the market that we're in at that time was very, very hot. So,
what's your margin? Are your margins these days around the same, or what are your flip margins? What's your profit margins these days after all your costs, your nets? Is it still in the $25,000 range, or is it higher or average?
I think average deal size, not splitting the assignments versus the flips, is somewhere around I think 18,000 or so. So the flips are a little bit higher than they were in the past, but the assignments are less than that. So that kind of brings it down the average, because
what's so crazy is that I think that's in your market. I think the numbers are so different. We're up here in the Pacific Northwest, and we could sneeze or fart and lose $20,000. I mean, I swear to God, man, those margins there, we would never survive here. I think people end up, I think it's interesting, because if you're going to do high volume like that, like you guys are doing, I think those margins get smaller, and that's the point. You're able to pick up more deals and do the volume, maybe because your margins are lower. I mean, here people, they want to make 30, 40 and that, 1,000 on their flips at least, I think. And not even, our costs are so high here to flip, if, I don't know what you guys are spending. If you had to do what types of flips are you guys doing? Are they just like cosmetic things, or are you guys doing gut jobs, some of both, or what?
The model that we always took on was we never, ever did lipstick on a pig. So we do pretty much always, we'll do new cabinets. Very rarely would we just, paint the cabinets and do carpet and paint, which is probably a better model. And we've definitely overdone it on a lot of them. And we probably would have made more money, but we take a lot of pride in knowing that we're delivering a good product to whatever family ends up moving in there.
Does that mean like new windows, new roof, new plumbing, new electrical? Your homes are newer down there than they are here in Seattle.
Right. So a lot of the times that stuff is not even necessary here, because our market really boomed and as far as building in the 90s or so. There are a lot of homes obviously in the 70s and 80s, but these 90s homes they're stucco exterior, tile roof, double pane windows already. So it's not really necessary to swap all that stuff out. And on the older properties, it's the same thing. I mean, they're 70s built. Some of them need new windows, but it's been very rare where we had to do that. Maybe if it was like a fire.
But you guys have pools. You got to deal with swimming pools.
Mm-hmm.
right? Is that, and what's your biggest expense on your rehabs?
My biggest, or
yeah, like what's the common denominator that is the most expensive thing you deal with, or is it just all, carpet and cabinets and countertops? And
I think that's part of the reason we can survive on these margins is because the properties out here are just so predictable. So our biggest expense would just be kitchens, cabinets, countertops, and that's very, very, very predictable,
Yes. That's awesome. There's quite a few players in your market. And, it's interesting that, I think, you tell me, but it seems like, you guys got some good competition down there, and that the fact that there's, enough homes for everybody to be healthy and fat and healthy off this model down there is amazing to me. But I guess it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So when you say last year you did 30% were flips about and 70% wholesale, why is that percentage flip flop that way? Is it, that's a lot, 144 times 30% is a lot of flips. What makes you decide to wholesale versus flip, or you just get your plate full and so you wholesale it?
Well, the thing is that when you run an operation that you're doing, because we did it for 3 years where you're flipping 100 properties a year, it just becomes brain damage almost. The construction portion of the business is just not nearly as systemizable as wholesaling is, where it's way more transactional. Not to mention that when you're flipping the properties, your sales cycle is just so much longer. It's 90 to 120 days versus 10, 12, 14, maybe 20 days on a wholesale deal. So you can cram in a lot more properties throughout the year, and your time value of money starts to expand. Or just grow. So I would say the main reason is just the construction part of it. I do enjoy flipping, and obviously the transformations and visiting the properties and getting to, express myself creatively and on that side. But at some point when you start to scale up over that like 60, 70 property a year mark, like it just becomes really unenjoyable. It sucks all the fun out of it. Like it's just problem after problem after problem. So that's kind of the main reason why. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
So do you guys keep any as rentals? Do you like flip to hold at all, or BRRRR? Do you know BRRRR? Do you guys use the term BRRRR down there?
We do use that term. So I didn't collect a bunch of rentals, and the reason why was because I was kind of just scaling up and growing my nest egg, I guess you could say, as far as like the flipping side of the business. So
that was your cash machine. You're flipping.
Exactly. And if I could make, obviously it's a little, but rentals out here are so difficult to make cash flow. It's because just the price point and the rents, it just doesn't make sense. But when you're, as far as from my perspective, but like if you're in the Midwest or on the East Coast or something, or where you can get properties for under 100,000 that'll rent for $700, $800, $1,000, that starts to make sense. But out here, you're buying a $200,000 house, you're renting it out for $1,200. They're really tough to make work. So I started.
We're swapping stories here. So our numbers are double that. You can't, if you can get something for $250, you've got to steal in kind of like South, in Tacoma area of our market. But our numbers are even dramatically 100 times worse than that. And how people are making it work here, the models that we're over here in the Seattle Pacific Northwest area, is they're using the boarding house, like rent by the room model. You might be the pioneer. We should talk later about that offline or whatever. But I could connect you up with maybe somebody that could tell you the ins and outs of that model. And you might, as long as it's not like against the city rules,
Is it Airbnb essentially at some level?
It's not Airbnb. We do that, but nobody wants to buy a property and rely on Airbnb as, to be there forever. So you wouldn't want to.
Short-term rentals.
Short-term, no, not short-term. It's boarding room style, rent by the room. It doesn't mean necessarily short-term, but I can connect you up with somebody and we can have like a conference call and talk about it and try.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe maybe we'll start doing some business in Vegas again. Who knows? But
yeah, it's a great market. It's really strong here. The only ones that I've really been able to make work are just subject twos, where I'm into it for as little cash as possible, and the rents are strong. So
right, and to me those are risky, right? Because you're holding it long term. Are you familiar with lease options at all? Do you?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not a guru in them by any stretch, but I'm familiar with how they work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you and I need to connect offline here, and I probably have a bunch of great ideas for you that we're forced to do up here that you don't have to do. But if you did, you might be ahead of the curve. As
I like that.
Zigging, when they zig, you zag type of thing. So, hey guys, we're just, making friends here in front of all you guys in case you get a new friend. So how about I have a model I call prehab, and when you're in a hot market, you could grab something off market, basically just clean it up and relist it without even touching it, without putting in the rehab time. But it sounds like down there, right up here where we are, it takes 6 months, probably 4 months at least to rehab a property because we have pretty heavy rehabs in order to make it pencil. So when the market's hot, what we like to do up here is, or I like to do, and I have a hard time getting my big time flip friends to do it because they can't stop themselves from flipping. They just can't stop, right? They have to go all the way. But you can buy something and just literally clean it up and, throw it back on without doing the remodel. I call that prehab. Do you guys do anything like that?
The same. The term that I'm familiar with is wholetailing, but same concept. Yeah. So, but the thing with us is I always try to just play the odds and see, if I'm going to do something like that, then if I spend the extra, because for me to paint cabinets, let's say it's $1,500, I can get all new cabinets in a house for $3,000. So it's like, why wouldn't I spend the extra $1,500 to get another 5 or 8 or whatever the case is? So most of the time I'll just go through and because we'll do. I've done a few that we bought, renovated, and resold in less than 2 months, like 50 days. I've had a few that were in the 50-day mark. And that was all new cabinets, countertops, flooring, paint inside out, baseboards, carpet. And then
when you say 50 days, do you mean 50 days till it's sold or 50 days till it's back on the market?
I own that property for 50 days and we bought it. The day I closed, construction started. We finished what I just described to you in maybe, 3 weeks or whatever. And then we get a buyer. Like the days on market for my flip properties on average is usually single digit. So if they sell in under 10 days. So, and then the loan closed really quick and maybe I think it was like 20 something days. So when you add it all up together, it was like a couple of them were in the 50-day mark. So.
Yeah, I think the huge difference obviously is not only the cost of your properties, but so when you're doing, what's your average cost of, like a standard flip for you guys? Are you spending, I can't even say a number because our numbers are so huge here compared to yours down there. What are you spending? So
it depends on if I'm doing one of those 1970 built house or, a house built in 2001. But if it's like a older home, usually about $28-32 a foot. If it's a newer home, maybe closer to like $25 a foot. But our average rehab is probably somewhere around $28,000 to $32,000 in that range.
28 to 32,000. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that is so absolutely insane. It's hard for us here, guys. I know you're all listening if you're in the Seattle area. We have people listening from all over the US, but I don't know how, if you identify with those numbers, will you in the comments below tell us, our costs are like that and what state you're from, what area you're from, because, over here in Seattle, it's just absolutely insane. It's amazing to me that anybody can even make a go of it here, but they do. These guys out here are spending anywhere from 60, 80, 100,000 to 140,000 per flip. It's crazy.
Wow.
but our margins are a lot bigger, like I said. So our spreads are a lot bigger. So it's bigger spreads, bigger risk, I guess I'll say. Wow. What else? So what do your KPIs look like for you guys out there? Like how do you generate your leads at this point? What's your lead generation model look like?
So, I mean, it pretty much, we look at all the marketing strategies and we do as much as we can of each one of them. So, we'll do, ringless voicemails, SMS, which is texting. We have a lot of deals that come through PPC. I spend a lot on Google, at Google AdWords for PPC, Facebook, Instagram, and then we get deals from SEO, which is, organic search traffic, which is a little bit more difficult to get. But when you do, there are our highest converting as far as leads, or our lowest number of leads to contract. They're awesome. So, so a little bit of everything. And then of those 144 last year, actually, I mean, we call here in-house. So the guy that, so my team looks like this. I have my assistant, transaction coordinator, partial bookkeeper, let's call her. Her name's Kelly. She handles like everything for us, like on the admin side, and she does do some lead processing too. I try to make sure that everybody here kind of has multiple roles, so they have multiple ways of getting compensation. They're super vested in the business, and then they all are just rock stars. They know so much of every bit of the business. It just makes us really effective. So if one of us is out, the other person can fill in, and it just allows a lot of flexibility.
Is Kelly a salaried employee, or like she goes off commission base, or what?
So she, I just switched her over to salary, but then she also has a basic, like, let's just call it her base pay. So last year is hourly, this year it's salary. So plus she gets a per transaction fee. And then she also gets, when she's at home, whatever, just watching TV, she'll be going through leads and just generating leads through our texting, or going through CallRail and generating leads, and just processing stuff at home in her free time, because she knows that she gets a bonus on any lead that we convert that was produced by her. And a lot of the guys in the office, I only have one main acquisitions guy, or I did, and I brought on two more guys rolling into this year because I could see that our pipeline wasn't getting worked well enough. But yeah, so whenever she puts in leads, you know that they're all over them, because they're usually pretty good ones, because she knows like what to look for, what people are saying, what to say back to them and stuff. So she gets some kind of preliminary rapport built. But yeah, so I have Kelly. I've got Ryan Grove. He's been with me since the Jeep flipping days. So we've been working together a long time, and he's my main acquisitions guy, like my right hand man. He helps me with everything, and then I've got my buddy Corey. He was working a corporate job at one of the casinos out here for a while, and he just kept wanting to come over. And finally, when towards the middle of, or at the beginning of last year, he quit his corporate job and came on full time. So he handles our disposition. He helps with project management, as far as managing the construction projects, staying on top of contractors and whatnot. And he helps find properties on the MLS for us as well. So it's me, Kelly, Ryan, Corey, and then we have a guy that's kind of part-time that goes through all of Ryan's, the acquisitions guy, Ryan. His name's Chance. He goes through all of just cleans up his pipeline and calls on him for him. And he's like a junior acquisitions qualifier, whatever you want to call it, lead manager for Ryan, but he's only part-time. He's working like 25 hours a week or so and going to school.
Sweet.
So that's kind of what our team looks like. But yeah, back to lead gen. So we do a lot of SMS. We do some ringless voicemail is good for us too. Sometimes.
Are you seeing those two sources getting saturated a bit?
Of course, yeah. Because I track my numbers pretty thoroughly as far as like, for me, the easiest way to determine if it's still being effective is obviously the cost per deal, but just tracking like the cost per inbound, like for text messaging. If I'm trying out using different platforms, whatever, and I'll track my cost per inbound message. That's the easiest way for me to be able to track my cost or how effective that lead source is being, and it's definitely climbed up over the last year or so.
Yep. What is your best source of leads?
Best meaning
highest convert, or I guess that would be
SEO. Yeah. So SEO for us has been about 1 in 4, 1 in 5, like every 5 leads or so you get a contract. And then PPC was 1 in 10. It has climbed again because as all these iBuyers are rolling in the market, it does drive our costs up because they're on the gray area type marketings, which would be your SMS, ringless voicemail, cold calling, any of that stuff. They're not doing any of that. So the legal style marketing techniques, direct mail, pay-per-click, that kind of stuff, they're just dumping money into advertising, and which just drives up the AdWords bids, or the cost per click for us. So our best converting is PPC and SEO. And then, but our greatest leads or our highest portion of revenue is from SMS.
Hey guys, it's Julie here with a quick break from the show to discuss an opportunity some of you may have interest in, which is to work more closely with me. On almost a daily basis, I get calls from investors and brokers, both new and experienced, asking me for guidance or advice. I love helping you guys out, and it keeps me on my toes too. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that I have a private broker coaching community called the VIP Education Community. And the best part is that it's 100% free. That's right, it's free to join. So whether you're a traditional broker or a broker investor, my VIP education community offers personalized one-on-one coaching from not just me, but also from my experienced broker friends with expertise in all disciplines of real estate and real estate investing. We'll teach and share our modern marketing strategies, our tech and lead generation resources, plus teach you how to identify or offer up opportunities for yourself or for your clients using techniques such as seller financing, lease options, land entitlement deals, BRRRR investing, flipping, multifamily or commercial coaching, whatever you like. We've got it all covered for you. The future of real estate is changing fast, and to stay in the game, it's time to learn about all the options you can offer your buyer and seller clients, as well as, if you want, learn how to use those skills to grow your own real estate portfolio. If you'd like more details about joining my VIP education community, reach out to me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com or text me at 206-910-2985 or just send me a Facebook message. My new favorite phrase is community equals confidence. So let's navigate the future of real estate together. Now, back to the show.
Yeah. What's maybe you want to share or not? I mean, as far as how does your sequence look for that? I mean, are you, what lists are you pulling? Are you pulling lists, or, I mean, your volume's got to be so high. How are you deciding which list to pull, or how are you going about that on list building?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you get to the point kind of or we have gotten to the point now where it's we do run lists, the obvious pre-foreclosures, probates, that kind of distress stuff. But now it's kind of gotten to the point where I was just blowing through so much data that I just went ahead and I went down to the county here. I got a CD that has every APN in Clark County, so our county. I filter out all the stuff I didn't want, areas, product, that type of stuff, and I narrowed it down, and then I just skip traced the entire county. And
was that 30,000 or 50,000 or what?
It was over 60, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was over 60,000. Or how many records you mean?
Yeah. I mean, that you ended up keeping 60,000.
Oh, what we were left with was. Yeah, so we were left, way more than that. We were left with 400, it was over 600,000, but of the ones that we actually got hits for when I skip traced them all, it's 480,000 records. And then, sometimes you have multiple phone numbers for those people. So we have millions of phone numbers now.
Where are you guys using, like, what are you using? InvestorFuse, and what are you using
For what?
for your like CRM stuff?
I use Podio. So I started with a base Podio. I've gone through quite a few of them, and it's like a Frankenstein of all, because again, I'm in engineering. That's my background. So like I've worked with some developers to help me with the things I needed, but a lot of times it's difficult to wait for those things. So now I just unfortunately find myself spending late nights on the back end of Podio and GlobiFlow, building out flows and stuff to make things work. But I've kind of gotten to the point now where it's pretty efficient, and it's, for me, actually, it's kind of like a hobby too. It's fun for me. I don't watch too much TV. I sit there on GlobiFlow. It's like my version of a video game.
Awesome. Well, Joe on our team is the one that did all that for us, so you guys can, I'm sure, bro out on that kind of stuff. It's crazy how things are changing. I'm curious to see, if you don't get a deal, what would be the reason why you wouldn't get a deal, you think? Like, you're getting beat by somebody in that case, or they just don't want to sell, they're not motivated. Why do you lose deals when you're skilled enough to get any deal? You're a broker too, right? Are you you're a real estate agent as well?
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent as well. So, but I don't take on any listings. It's just my time is way too consumed to try to focus on that. So we just built out the retail side of our workspace, and it's been working out pretty well for us. I'm really regretting that I didn't do it sooner, because it's been a great.
And what does that mean? What does that mean when you say that?
I built out
on the retail side. What does that mean?
Well, by that I mean I built out a workspace on my CRM that is catered to real estate agents. So I work with mainly just the one real estate agent here, and I just basically any time that my guys get, we just push all the leads to her, and she'll work them. And she's a killer. She's been out here for a long time, and she knows what she's doing, and she's a closer. And it's been working out really well.
Awesome.
So if we don't get a deal, though, to answer that question, majority of the time, I would say it comes down to timing and circumstance. On very few occasions does it come down to price for us. A lot of times we'll end up getting a property for a lesser price than our competition. Not all the time. Obviously, of course, we get beat on price sometimes, but I think just we have the flexibility to be able to flip them too. So if we're competing against other wholesalers, unfortunately, yeah, they do bid it up for us. But at the end of the day, we have really, really strong money partner. Well, we have a great source of financing. So it's much cheaper than most people even have access to here in town. And
what is that? Is that private money or?
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's institutional lending, and it's hard money, but the rates are just the terms are just really, really favorable. So
what type of rates are you guys getting up there? Because we have some which I think are pretty good rates up here. I mean, you could get down to probably 8, even less for a person like you. Are you guys paying less than 8%?
No, and the percentage is less important to me than the points. What kind of points do you guys pay on that?
I think the points are. I think you have flexibility on the points too. We should need to connect our hard money lenders to you, because they lend. I don't know if they lend in Nevada. I'll have to ask them. They're called Certain Lending.
I've never heard of them.
Certain Lending. I'll have to check in. I know Nevada can be a tough state for lenders, I think, for some reason, but. I mean, I think that, what are you paying in points right now?
Well, I think the standard, for most people, if you're kind of new to flipping, or you don't have a ton of experience, like you've done less than, let's say, 15 properties or so, they'll try to start you out somewhere like 3 points, 12%. I think that if you have any decent level of experience, you'll kind of end up somewhere around 10 and 2 with like a doc fee, maybe $1,000 doc fee. So 2 points, 2 points origination, 10% interest. But for me, I've gotten just the volume that we do now, we're down to 8% no points.
Yeah, I think our guys might be able to compete with you on that, or you should. I want to introduce them to you. We talk about some other stuff offline. I'll just introduce you guys, and you guys can talk shop and see if they lend in Nevada. It might be something you want to know about. They're a startup out of San Francisco. called Certain Lending, and they're super fantastic, and they have a 30-year loan product.
Wow.
Yeah, it's you're gonna wanna know these guys. So I'll connect you. That is not income based, right? It's an asset based 30-year loan product.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me see. What else can I ask you? So, of the deals that you get under a contract, what percentage do those close? Do they ever fall out for whatever reason?
Yeah, of course they fall out, but I think our cancellation, as far as like industry standard, is very low. I kind of see most because I'll compare my business with, or just we'll compare notes with guys in Phoenix on the other side of the country or whatever, in different masterminds. And I think that a lot of people are, most people are around like the 15 to 20% range for their cancellation. Some will be around 10, but we're super, super low. I think last year we were just under 5% cancellation. So I think we got somewhere around 150, some 52, or I forget how many contracts we got, but we closed a good majority of them. And that's because, I don't know, we don't run into a lot of title issues here. We don't run into a lot of title issues here that kill the deals. And we look at the recorder before we'll put properties under contract, just to make sure, that we're not just wasting our time. And then the other flip side of it is like, if I don't have the issue where if a deal's too thin or a buyer backs out, I'll just roll in and close it myself and we'll flip it.
Right.
That helps with the cancellation too.
Right. So on your guys' website, it says get an offer on your home in just 7 minutes.
Yep.
So how do you do that? Is that just an automated calculator, and really what you're doing is just trying to get their contact information so you can follow up, or how do you give them an offer in 7 minutes?
Well, we never miss calls. So if somebody we just all work 24/7. So that we really will get somebody an offer in 7 minutes. Ultimately we just try to get people on the phone with us so that we can just build rapport and, just find out what their pain points are and whatnot. But that's kind of the idea behind it.
It's not an automatic calculator.
No, we'll actually comp it, but it's pretty standard for us. All we need to do is just find out roughly what it's worth, and then it's a really simple formula for us. Out here, pretty much what we can buy at, or we know what our buyers will buy at, and the majority of people are buying. If we decide to wholesale something off, people will be buying somewhere between 80 to 85% minus repairs. So it's pretty cut and dry from there. And we know my acquisitions guy knows repairs so well, and so do I. So if the calls don't, if he doesn't pick up, which he always does, I probably haven't gotten a call in, every 4 months I'll get one, because he always answers his phone. He'll just take a look at it really quick. And we know the Valley so well. Like if it's a single story 2-car garage in this area, we'll look at it and be like, okay, that's worth $255. And then we'll go and comp it and be like, yeah, we just know our market, so we can make offers pretty quick. Well, that offer most of the time will be a range.
The nugget in there is that you guys are your quick response, right?
Yeah, speed to lead is everything.
Do you do live pickup?
Oh yeah, yep. All of us in-house.
Yeah, and do you don't use any VAs to answer any of your stuff?
Nope.
Excellent.
Never.
And so, do people actually plug their info into your website where it says get an offer on your home in 7 minutes?
Mm-hmm. All the time, yeah. And we just spend so much money in marketing that I'm not going to spend all this money to have somebody in the Philippines just answer the phone. Nothing against them, but like I need skilled people on the phone that know the market that we're in.
How much does it take? How much you spending monthly? Like $30,000 or something, or?
Yeah, we're actually under that. I'll hover somewhere in the mid-20s. Some months I'll be able to get it under 20, but that's like our marketing expense, and that's aside from our labor in our office and whatnot.
And what's the breakdown of that? Let's call it 25. How much are you spending on PPC, Google AdWords versus Facebook versus? How does the texting cost work for you?
Texting is very, very inexpensive, and now we've been able to get it for even less because I've worked with my buddy out in Phoenix. I don't know if anybody knows Jared Vidalis, but we developed our own platform just because there's a lot of great platforms out there. Like I know that you guys had Jason Nichols on your podcast a couple weeks ago, and Lead Sherpa, that's a great platform. But I wanted to be able to get, with how much I send out, I needed to be able to get it at cost. And then any features that I needed changed on the fly. I didn't want to have to I just wanted the full control over everything. So
you guys have your own private proprietary texting system, or you're found somebody how does that work for you?
Yeah, we hired a developer and we paid him to develop a platform for us. So yeah, it's just me and him are the only ones using it at the moment. And it's just, it's just working really, really well for us. We haven't offered it out to anybody else at the moment, but maybe eventually we will, but we haven't yet. But it's just so difficult with how competitive texting is to get platforms that give you a solid response rate. And by response rate, I mean like you send out X amount of text message and get back this many in return. Like it's just falling and falling and falling with all the platforms I'm seeing. And I know the reasons why that is. So I just
why is it?
Well, there's a lot of reasons why. The main reason is your numbers are getting burnt. Like Jason was talking about, is these carriers are spending millions of dollars or whatever, hundreds of millions of dollars to create a blueprint, a fingerprint, whatever, of your message profile as you're sending it. And if there's too many, if they can pick up on what you're sending and realize that that's the same message in the same form, and all you're using is somebody's name and their address again and again and again, if they pick up on that and they'll see that that's what you're doing, they'll look at that phone number and they'll look at that, and they'll block it. Yeah, they'll spam it. So you have to have a really dynamic message profile. You have to have different, they're called spin tokens.
Different sequence of texting.
Yes. And then it's not just different message templates that you're sending, but you have to have like a dynamic message profile. Like it needs to be altering each message. If you have 10 templates that you're sending, each one of those templates needs to have 30 variations within it, so that it's just constantly changing, like different words changing within each of those message profiles to make it so they can't pick up on that fingerprint and block those numbers.
So what do you think is what are you going to do? So let me go back to this for a second. Out of your $25,000 or so that you're spending, is half of that on PPC?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I spend, some months it's more, some months it's less. It's about, I probably spend about $12,000 a month on Google pay-per-click.
And what's the other big chunk out of there?
Texting is very expensive. Texting, ringless voicemail. And then I have, spend money on SEO to have content written constantly for the site to help it improve.
Does Facebook work for you?
Yeah, Facebook is okay for me. I'm trying a new method with it to see how it turns out, but it'll get us a few deals a year, a handful. But
let me ask you a question. Do you think that these things are being saturated because the message is saturated? Like, can you come up with is there an idea to maybe you need to come up with something of a more unique message? I don't know. I'm just making this.
For what? For the
I don't know. Everybody's saying the same thing, right? I know it's speed to lead, and whoever can spend the most advertising is going to, maybe drive the most traffic to them. But is there any unique messaging or new messaging in regards to everybody saying the same old thing? Do you feel like you say something different in your message to your whoever's looking for what they're, to sell their house, or does that start to get saturated with a message that all sounds the same?
I think you got to find a balance of, making your message unique, but still being direct to the point so they understand what your business model is.
Not overcomplicating it.
Right. Because these people, the people that are the sellers that you're buying their homes, like, they're just all looking kind of for the same thing. So I try to just come off as organic and just help them understand that, we know our market better than anybody, and we can provide a better service than any of these iBuyers can out here. and find the solution that really fits their situation the best. Even if that is not working with us, I'll tell them right away. Like they just appreciate when you pick up the phone and you just you start to talk to somebody and you realize what they're looking for or their situation, and you just tell them we're not going to be a good fit. And I'll be honest with you, you don't even waste your time calling 7 other iBuyer companies, because your best option is to list it. Like you should we just are very direct, and that helps us build a lot of trust with people. And then I think over, the time of we call so many people with that same approach, and they come back after time. Like
and they refer, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So let's jump. Last thing we're going to talk about here, and then we'll cut you loose, is the whole iBuyer thing saturating up in your market there. Who's top dog? Is it Open Door, or is Zillow getting in there, or?
So top dog was was Open Door for a while now, but Zillow has come in with more aggressive offers. I think what's ultimately going to happen is that these iBuyers are going to realize that they're overpaying for the properties because they're losing money on them, and they're going to have to. I'm already seeing their offers pull back, and there's been. When they first came into the market, they were just blowing if we ever did compete with them, they're blowing our offers out of the water. Like they're just way overpaying. But now I'm seeing their offers drop and drop and drop, and now we're getting a little bit more competitive.
How do you beat them? If you're up against them, how would you beat them? Do they not buy certain things? Are you buying what they don't buy?
That's a big portion of it, is we're buying product that they don't want because the rehabs are too extensive. But even still, the thing is I work with some hedge funds here in town that can just pay more than they can pay as much as Open Door.
Wedgwood?
Does. Yep. We have Wedgwood. I sell a lot.
I work with Wedgwood too. And actually, any of you in the Seattle or the Pacific Northwest area that wants to work with Wedgwood, hit me up, Julie at SeattleInvestorsClub.com, and I'll tell you how you can do that.
Yep. They're a great buyer for us. So because at certain points in the year too, they'll buy properties so aggressively just because they have so much money that they have to spend.
Yeah, I've sold them a ton of properties myself. That's awesome. So is Wedgwood Wedgwood can beat Zillow and Open Door?
Oftentimes, yes. Yep.
Awesome. And are they, do you get if you sell them something on a wholesale, do you list it back?
No, they would not allow that. No.
Okay.
We just sell it to them, and then that's that. We'll take an assignment fee and move on.
I'll just say for the record, you should ask for that if you wanted to. But anyway, we'll move on past that. Okay. Awesome. So what is it what is the rehab dollar that they are looking to stay within, like Zillow?
Anything with rehab less than, let's call it 20 is what I would see it as, but they probably see it as like under 10. And then newer products, nothing, with serious like roof repairs or anything like that, they're just going to stay away from. And pretty much anything 1980 or older, they're just not going to be competitive with us.
So they just want the quick, whatever, carpet and paint type of situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so what are they paying on the dollar? What are they paying as far as percentage of ARV or whatever on that?
Somewhere around, and their rehab is in my opinion, it was just too low, but that's just the way that they see it. So somewhere around 88 to 90 cents minus repairs.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. But that's trimming up too. It's coming down, but
did they avoid, in your market, you have a bunch of like Rambler 1-story homes and 2-story homes, right? Are there any other floor plans that you have out there besides 1-story homes and 2-story homes?
There's some split levels that are there's some split levels, but they're very few and far between. Yeah. And the other,
deals? Do you sell Open Door or Zillow deals?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go into. Yeah. So there's between them, they'll buy properties that are, I've sold them properties that are cleaner, newer homes that didn't need a whole lot, that I know that if I wanted to get that top market dollar that they're going to see the house is worth, I just think that I would need to go, or I need to flip it on some level. So I'll play both scenarios. And a lot of times, I'm just better off turning around and selling to them. I'll make more than I would have.
How does that work? Do you have to get paid by the seller then?
No. So in those scenarios, I've tried to do assignments with them and it's just been too difficult. So they're not really doing that yet. So we'll just double close them.
Okay. So you're double closing them.
Yeah.
And how about with Wedgwood? Will they take your assignments?
Oh yeah. Wedgwood. Wedgwood will take assignments.
How about Open Door? Do you sell, is it really that you're selling to Zillow, or is Open Door kind of,
Open Door.
I think Open Door is going to go down as not go down, but are they going to lose their market share as Zillow booms into these markets?
I think they already are. Yeah. The only thing with Zillow, I haven't been able to sell Zillow yet. You need to own the property for a certain amount of time. They want you to. And I haven't been able to sell them, but Open Door will just buy it. You can just turn around and sell it right to them. So that's
you just close. You don't do a double close with them as well?
Most of the time, no. But I think if I had a better relationship with somebody that's in their corporate side, I guess you could say that I could structure it that way. But at the moment, I haven't had time to harass them enough to get in the door.
Do you see your business moving towards heavily towards more selling them stuff, or kind of just how you're split? Like what percentage of your wholesales out of the 70% you wholesaled last year went to something like Zillow or Open Door?
Very few, maybe less. Very few of them. A very small percentage of them went to,
because the product was what they don't buy, or the rehab was too big.
Of what I lost or what I sold to them, you're saying?
What you sold to them.
Yeah. Just because a lot of times it doesn't always pencil out. I've had better luck too, rather than just selling to Open Door, or selling to, there's some rental funds or hedge funds that are coming in here buying pools of rentals, and they'll pay way more than, sometimes they'll pay over retail on my flips. So if I have a clean house.
Who is that? Do you know who that is? Is it
like Progressive Rental or Progressive and Cerberus Hold? I think it's called Cerberus Holdings. I've sold a few to them. They buy sometimes.
They're like institutional?
Yeah, they buy like 100 to 250 rentals a month out here.
What was this? That was Progressive Rentals. What was the other one?
Yeah, Progressive Residential and Cerberus.
Cerberus, like
CERE Cerberus. I'll have to look on the one that they bought from us.
Okay. Do you have you heard of Invitation Homes?
Yep, they're out here too, but I haven't been able to sell anything to them yet. I've gotten some offers on my properties from them, but I didn't ever accept them.
Awesome. Geez, man, it's crazy to compare notes on the markets like this. I'll tell you what. So, okay, well, let's wrap it up. We love the fact that maybe we can call you one of our friends in Vegas and keep in touch with you guys down there. Maybe we can tell you some of the strategies that we use up here. I'd like to talk with you offline sometime and just, shoot the breeze or whatever. If I'm in Vegas, I go to Vegas, it seems like once a year, I look you up and go shoot the breeze and have some coffee and do that sort of thing. Share some notes on the creative stuff that we have to do up here to survive, which is, our markets are just so different. Last couple things. What's your favorite tool or app that you don't think you could live without in your business?
I mean, obviously Podio, but I think that's a given. What else? I mean, DocuSign.
What's this DocuSign? What's this wholesale? What was this app I saw on the Disruptor site? Some wholesale thing, kind of like it's like some wholesale app.
Are you talking about Steve's app? His real estate?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that he's basically collecting like all the a network so that wholesalers don't have to worry about finding a bunch of investors. It's like all the investors just come to one place to see everybody's properties. So I think he's building that out right now. I haven't used that app yet personally, but
isn't there an off-market MLS that Cody Sperber did? Do you know about it?
I don't know about that, but I think that's basically what Steve's app is too on Real Estate Destructors.
I got you.
Off market MLS.
Okay. Well, when you have your millions in the bank, where's your favorite trip that you ever went on, or where do you want to go?
I mean, we went last year.
Bali Villa looked pretty freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Bali and Thailand. Everywhere we stayed there was just unreal. It was like is all Instagram worthy, like fresh out of the magazine. But those are such beautiful places. But I think my favorite place I've gone to so far is actually Switzerland. I went there in 2018, and it's just got a little bit of everything. It's like forest, bright teal waters, lakes, mountains. It's just everything all in one view.
I agree. I have also been to Switzerland. It ain't cheap though. Switzerland is not cheap. At least I didn't think so. I thought it was expensive, but it was super awesome. I agree with you. Well, good stuff. I don't want to keep you too long today. We absolutely appreciate you coming on, and I hope we get to meet in person down in Vegas, or if you're ever up here in Seattle. We have a really, really awesome real estate investor community here with, different clubs and real estate investment clubs, and we all hang out together. In fact, if you're interested to know about this, we have something called the Pacific Northwest Big Badass Real Estate Expo. Mm-hmm. You should look it up. It's big players. It's a really freaking huge conference here for real estate investors. The Pacific Northwest Big Badass Real Estate Expo. It's happening in July. For all you guys listening, for wherever you're listening, especially if you're in the Pacific Northwest, if you guys haven't checked that out and gotten your tickets yet, we're going to be recording a commercial and a podcast with our buddies Tarl and Grace Yarber to let you guys know more about that. But please don't miss out and jump in and check that out. But other than that, we'll wrap it up today. We'll let you get back to work, cranking out all your deals. And thanks for your time today, Casey.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for having me.
All right. And I'm going to do a little admin here at the end. I think you guys all know that we have a bunch of meetups with Seattle Investors Club. These are weekly meetups. So, do you have to come every week? No. Or if you come a couple times, are you going to want to come every week? I think you are. Wait till you see what happens. These are face-to-face meetings where we have lunch or breakfast and we talk shop. There's, just join the conversation. All experience levels are welcome. We have one every Tuesday in Burien at Angelo's, which is an Italian restaurant, and I recommend the beef cannelloni. That's from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., 601 Southwest 153rd Street in Burien. I am there every week on Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 2. And we also have two more every week, one in Pierce County in Milton at the Milton Lodge. Go down the Milton Lodge on Pacific Highway East. Upstairs, we have a private room up there. And that is every Thursday from 9:30 a.m. to about 11:30 a.m. Some really awesome co-hosts I have down there with Larry Gill and Mariska Pilch, who are experts at lease options, creative seller financing, and all that stuff. If you guys haven't schooled up on that yet, you absolutely need to. As well as we have another meetup for everybody who's on the east side, all you Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, Issaquah peeps and the likes out there. That is every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Family Pancake House off Redmond Way. Come fill your mind with awesome face-to-face discussion, and then you're probably going to gain 5 pounds by eating all the Eggs Benedict and yummy stuff they have there as well. Little side note for anybody who's listening, please send me a text or DM me on the east side. If you're in the Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland area out that way, we are considering maybe if we want to change that to a noontime meeting instead of 10 a.m. If you want to vote for that, send me a text or reach out to myself or Joe and say, yeah, please do that. If you haven't been able to make it, sometimes it takes a while to get the right time down on those, but we are having fun over there. And then tonight, or actually today is the second Tuesday of every month. Today's a Tuesday. Bob's Burgers and Brews in Burlington. We have a meetup. It's an evening meetup, 6 to 8 p.m. out at Bob's Burgers and Brews. Once a month out there, and also once a month in Kitsap, in Silverdale at Feelers Cafe. I can't remember the details off the top of my head because it's just once a month, but check us out on Meetups, the Meetups website, and look up Seattle Investors Club. You will find all these details. And if you would please sign up and join our group on Meetups. It makes it a lot easier for us to communicate with you. We would appreciate it if you would do that. And other than that, like I said, for those of you who want to learn more about iBuyers, want to know about Wedgwood, who is up here in our market, and how you can sell some deals to them or get involved with them, give me a shout out. Find me on social media or text me at 206-910-2985 or however you want to reach me, Julie at SeattleInvestorsClub.com, and I can talk to you more about that as well. Other than that, Joseph, what are the details of today's podcast?
Heck yeah. The show notes can be found at SeattleInvestorsClub.com/102. That's SeattleInvestorsClub.com/102. And I would like to give a shout out to the person that gave us another 5-star review on iTunes. Your full review is not showing up, so I can't read it on there. Maybe you just clicked 5 stars and then didn't write something. But for anybody that gives us a 5-star review, we'll be happy to give you a shout out on the podcast. So head over to iTunes and do that, and make sure that you hit the subscribe button while you're there. Thanks, guys.
Awesome stuff. All right, guys, everybody have fun. Stay safe if you're in floods and landslide zones. Stay safe if you're driving to the mountains, and go kick some butt. And we hope to see you at one of our weekly mastermind and coaching sessions. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@SeattleInvestorsClub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.